This video is to get you started on the blob brush tool exercise. You'll need to download the ART205GO harveststart.ai. That should be a resource on the website. And the next thing, once you've opened it through the file open, and open the file, then you'll need to go to your layers palette. Now, I'm going to delete these because this was from an earlier exercise, so I'm just going to delete the layers. Notice we have a layer 1. It's locked and it's visible. If we want to manipulate it, we can unlock it, but for this exercise, leave this layer locked at all times. I'm going to add, I believe it's 5 layers. And we'll move layer 1, just click and hold and drag it to the top so that it is above all the other layers, and it is still locked. The lowest layer that we're going to have is called sky. The next layer above that will be the field. Sometimes you have to double click. Then we'll do the tree line. And you may want to add other layers besides the ones I have. Call these sheaves. And then finally the pumpkins. Now the next thing I'll do is I'll lock all of these layers individually, except the sky. I want to leave the sky layer visible and manipulatable. See, currently we're on the pumpkin layer, and it's locked so that if I chose the blob brush, it doesn't show up. However, if I go to the sky, now the blob brush has a circle around it. Next step, we have to choose the color for the blob brush for the sky. The sky is going to be orange, but instead of the fill being orange, we need the stroke to be orange. So basically, that's a good shade. And if we go over here, so well, that doesn't sound like that would be correct, but see how the blob brush paints this? And now I'm going to roughly go around the sheaves. And you want to start with a fairly large brush, and then you can change the blob brush size to be smaller to go around all of these. Now I will tell you a little something. You can sit here all day, take a lot of time, and paint around. Go get a smaller brush, like double-click the blob brush, change the size down to very, very small, so like 6 points. And Command plus, we can zoom in, and we can go and we can paint around all of that. But there is a much easier way to do this. Mainly because everything that is above the sky, when you paint it, is going to cover up the sky so that you don't have to be as precise with the sky shape. This is an exercise, obviously, in using the blob brush, but we don't have to be that deliberate. Now also, if you need to erase part of the sky that you drew, just use the eraser tool. But as I said, there was an easier way to do this. So let's click on the layer palette. And if you want the layers to be visible all the time, just click and drag that top of the menu over, the window over, and you can have it separate so that when you go back to change color, the layer palette stays open. Now, notice I said there's the sky, and you can click here. And if you do that, that's going to select everything on that layer. I'm going to delete it. And you go, what did you just do? Why did you delete that? Because I'm going to show you an easier way. Get the rectangular draw tool, draw a rectangle from the horizon up, and voila, it's orange. Or, if you'd like, you can also make it a gradient. If we click here to the fill, make it a gradient, then let's drag gradient off too. Again, sometimes you have to drag these menus away so that you can change the colors. Alright, let's go and change that color to an orange tone. Then click on this color selector, CMYK, and we'll choose a yellowish tone. Then also we're going to change the angle, and we can do that by going to the gradient tool, and we can go and click from the bottom to the top. So now we have kind of a sunset feel to our sky. We can also change from linear to radial, and let's say the sun is setting behind these sheaves over here. And so now the brightest part of the glow is behind these sheaves. Now, I'm happy with the sky, so let's lock the sky layer and then go to the field. The field can be done so much the same way as the sky can. You do, however, need to unlock the sky field, a sky layer, excuse me, then draw a rectangle. And let's choose, I kind of like the gradient, but let's make it a linear. And now let's change these colors. Let's make the orange more of a brown tone, and then the yellow a little stronger on the gold. And then again, get the gradient tool, and since the lightest color is on the left, we will click here, then drag downward. And if you want less, you can do this. You can also hover over this and bring the colors forward and back, and where they change, like that. So now we have the sky and the field or the foreground. Lock the field, go to the tree line. Now this is where you will need a smaller brush on your blob tool. Oh, and I noticed one thing. Let me go back, unlock the sky layer, and with my direct selection arrow, excuse me, I see that that shape doesn't quite match. There we go. That was just bothering me that it wasn't quite going all the way down. Relock sky, go back to the tree line, and we'll go back to the blob brush. And I know we've got a fairly small one. Let's make it a little larger. And I think I want these trees in the background to be, again, we need to change the stroke rather than the fill. I think I want them to be more of a red tone, but add some black to it. And you can also go here to the bottom and choose a color this way. That might be a good color. I'm going to zoom in a little bit and then start painting the tree line. And don't worry if you go over the dark lines. They will show back up because they're on that layer 1 that's locked and above everything. Alright, so you get the idea with this. And you can change the tolerance. Notice how this brush is not staying true to where I've drawn it. You can click here, change the tolerance to be tighter on pixels, the fidelity. So now when I draw, it should be closer to what I put down. Yes. And as long as you haven't changed the color of the stroke, when you go to another tool, when you come back to the blob brush tool, excuse me, it will rejoin the path you were drawing or painting. And obviously you'll have to get to a much, much smaller brush here, probably 2 points, and paint the tree trunks. So you'll need to do all of these trunks. So it is a bit tedious, but again, it should be fun. And again, another thing I'll show you quickly, I'm not going to finish all this. Let's go to the pumpkin layer, and I'm going to fit to the window. Let's use the blob brush, a larger tool, get the brush size larger. I'm going to use the same color right now just to show you something. I want to show you how to take a blob shape Let's just do this quickly. It's not going to be the most precise paint in there. Anyway, that's on the pumpkin. And I am going to change this stroke to be a little more that color. And now when I paint this pumpkin, it will not join that other path that I just created. So that's one thing where you can have two separate paths, blob brush paths. Now, I do want to show you by using this one, you can go to the gradient window. Have that open. And click on the gradient. Excuse me, that was the stroke. Choose the gradient. And just as we did with the sky or the foreground, or the field, we can change the color. A nice pumpkin color there. And then let's do a deeper one here. Now it's going to look kind of like I'm about to change it to a radial fill. But I want the lighter radial on the left, so let's just click the reverse gradient. Then I can use the gradient tool to change where that fills from. And with this one, I'll go here, I'll choose that, but now I'm going to choose a deeper color. Deeper red, stronger on the yellow, a little bit more of the dark tone. And again, with the gradient tool, I'll change where it fills from. So, continue to paint and then save your file as a PDF. All you have to do is go to Save As, and rather than save as an AI, save it as an Adobe PDF. You can turn all the marks on if you'd like. Obviously this one is not finished. You can turn all the printer's marks on, as we've done with the others, and then just save as PDF. And that will be what you upload. And this concludes the demo. Please send any questions you have to the Ask the Instructor forum or send them via email. Thank you.